Path to Power Goku confirmed, and with him, over 300 stones for your anniversary savings account. How's it, everybody? Celtic Link here. We're back for another Dokkan battle video. As expected, tonight we had the Dokkan event teaser for the upcoming physical Path to Power Kid Goku, arguably one of the best TURs next to the Gammas to have released on Dokkan in the last year. And I gotta say, I'm pretty excited for this guy, but I am more excited to go over with you guys everything coming up in his campaign and just how many stones you can expect, because we are looking at over 300 stones for the month of February with this guy's campaign and his part 2. So let's go ahead, let's jump into the campaign info courtesy of the Dokkan Wiki. This is the JP Celebration info, and you can imagine that most things are going to be the same. I will say that this is not an exhaustive list because things can change. They can remove, they can add things, you know, we never know for absolute sure until after the fact. But when looking ahead, you can make a pretty good guesstimate based on what's here because the overall total doesn't fluctuate too much from month to month. So let's jump in, let's take a look at the login bonus. The login bonus runs from ran from the 4th to the 20th in October, so you can see that was about, you know, for the length of a typical part 1. So if we keep the same, we'll be looking at about 14 to 16 stones. We're just going to go ahead and say 16 so it matches here. And now they had a part 2 for this campaign. I do believe it was the Gamma Celebration. So we'll probably be getting a part 2 LR for our February. There is a specific LR that usually comes for this time, so I'll go over that when we get there. Now, they did have an exciting login bonus specifically for the Harvest campaign. I don't know if we'll get this exact one, but we'll probably get something similar. And if we do, you're looking at an extra 7 stones for logging in. And that'll bring our total so far for logging in, at least for the 16 days, up to 23 stones. Now, the missions don't fluctuate too much, but you can be ranging anywhere from 7 to 10 stones per month. This month will net us about 10, bringing our total to 33 stones for the month of February. During this campaign, they did have the Off We Go exciting camping shrimp campaign. Now, I doubt we'll get this because we just had this in January on Global, so I wouldn't count on this. If we do get it, it may be a different one. It might be the Hercule or the Ginyu Force one. Either way, I wouldn't count it because this runs for 16 days, and so your stone count could be 16, or it could be 7 times 16 if you got really lucky every single day. So it'll fluctuate from person to person. You can add that total in, you know, at the end once you know, if it does end up happening. So moving on, that gives us our Dokkan event, which is usually 2 stones, so bringing our total to 35 so far. We will have a new story event where you can recruit the STR free-to-play Yamcha, and with this event there's 5 stages. We will get 2 stones per stage, plus missions for awakening and feeding in super attack to the Yamcha, bringing our total to 12 for the stage, meaning our grand total is about 47 for the month of February so far. There will be a new growth stage that you can complete once per day, netting yourself some missions and meat. Each mission grants you 1 stone, so for 17 days, you get 17 stones for completion of all missions, bringing our total for the month to 64. Up next, we have a new virtual ultimate clash, which nets us at about 30 stones, bringing our total to 94. Now, with this specific Ultimate Clash, we are getting, I believe it was in the news here, where is it? Right here. The LR Cooler Army Easy A. They will be adjusting the shop so you can purchase more copies of him to get him to SA25, or you could just buy Kai's, up to you. I suppose that depends on how much battlefield memory you have. I do believe there's a couple missions for him, but I think the grand total of stones you can get for that is 5, which isn't much, but you know, it's extra just for awakening him. And that will net you up to about 99 stones. You can plus or minus that if we actually end up getting the missions. Following that back on the campaign info, where is it? Here we are. We have some returning events. I'm not going to count these stones because I'm going to assume you've already completed these. There will be a golden weekend special missions, which net you 21 stones in total, 7 per weekend. This goes for 3 consecutive weekends, so 21. That brings us to about 120 stones so far for the month of February. At around the midpoint of February, before Part 2 kicks off, we should be getting the Dokkan Festival EZA for the Int Kid Goku. We'll know exactly when this drops when we get the campaign info, but either way, you're looking at about 34 stones for completion of this EZA. Obviously, I'll have a guide out to show you guys how to do that when it happens, but that brings our grand total so far to about 154 stones. Moving on, we have the limit-breaking campaign for awakening the Baba Shop TURs and EZAing them. You get about 2 stones per one you complete, bringing the grand total to about 10 stones, I think, because there's 5 of them, right? Yeah, so extra 5 stones gives us 164 in total. Now, there will be a Pets on Battle. I'm not sure if it's a new one. I don't think it's a new one, right? Because if this is the Goku Frieza one, we just got the Goku Frieza one. So it might be a rerun, in which case there won't be many extra stones, just finishing up the collection if you hadn't collected it so far. So I won't count that because that'll be different for every person. But closing out part 1, we will be getting an Extreme Super Battle Road, which was in the news. So completion of the stage will net you 6 stones, 5 stones for the mission, 1 for completion of the stage. And I do believe the new stage is Youth. Yes, it is Youth Extreme Super Battle Road. So it makes sense given that Goku is the character, right? So he'll really help in that stage if you manage to pull him. And that's about it for part 1. So 170 stones just for part 1. That's kind of a lot, right? But that's not all. Obviously, February, we always get a part 2 LR. It's usually the December LR, which means in the last couple of years, it's been a double raid spanner in the month of February. So last year it was the Gohan and Trunks. So this year it is likely to be the STR Plan to Eradicate the Saiyans Goku, the one that awakens into the Goku and Z Fighters, although his name is still Goku. But this campaign, assuming it's the one we can get it, is going to net us quite a few more stones. And even if it's not, the grand total will still be relatively the same, I assure you. But if we take a look at the login bonus, we will have a new login bonus starting around the time that it starts, which if it's 16 days, right? So it'll probably be 12 days of login bonus. So another 12 stone, bringing our total to 182 for the month of February for just logging in every day. Missions, we're going to get about another 10 stones in missions, bringing us to 192. We don't have any new Dokkan events, so there's no 2 stones for summoning for picking up these guys and awakening them. But we can skip all these because this was specific to the Christmas campaign, which we already got. We are getting the new Super Strike EZA for the TN if we do this campaign, which is about 25 stones. So you're looking at about 217 stones so far by the time we get this event. Around the same time, we'll also be getting the quest renewal, adding stage 30 and about 27 stones for completion of the entire stage, bringing our total to 244. So that is quite a lot. This Area 30 is also going to grant us the Baba Shop update, which allows us to infinitely sell and buy things that would get us Baba points, which is really, really helpful. And I'll go over a guide for doing that when that happens. It also gives us the ability to trade all those blue gems you've been grinding out from link leveling for green gems. So very, very helpful. Moving on, I think there is a new burst mode. There isn't any extra campaign with this, but there'll be a couple of stones for completing it. Otherwise, we have a bunch of returning story events. Not much, but if you hadn't completed any of these, you can complete them and get the extra stones. Finally, closing it out here, we will be getting a new explosive chain battle for about 25 stones, bringing the total to 269. And then, finally, per the Global Dokkan producer letter, back in November-December timeframe, we know that God Goku is getting his EZA sometime during this campaign, giving us an extra 34 stones and bringing our total to 303 stones. So this is a pretty big looking campaign for such a short month and for such an off month for Global, right? JP is celebrating their 8th year anniversary, and this is pretty much what we're getting on Global. It's not much in terms of overall content, but it is a lot of stones, and arguably one of the most fun TURs I think that has released in last year. But you can see just from completing all of these and picking up your stones, you get 300 stones throughout this entire campaign to add to whatever you saved up from January. So if you start your saving now with campaigns like this for Global Dokkan's 8th year anniversary, for those Spirit Bomb LRs, you are looking at quite a hefty amount, right? Like I said, the overall stone count per month doesn't fluctuate too much. You might be plus or minus 50 stones, but if we just assume that it's relatively the same and we take our number and multiply it by 5, let's just round down to 300, right? Right? Because we're 5 months out from the... Right, we're about 5 months out from the anniversary. You're looking at almost 1,500 stones if you start saving now. Now, that does mean you got to be skipping some manas, right, and using your stones wisely, but that is a lot of stones that you could be spending on those two LRs, and I definitely think more so than anything, after testing them out on JP, that is where you should be investing your stones. But also knowing how much stones are coming and how much stones you have will help you when it comes to budgeting your stones and figuring out when and where to spend your stones should something pop up that catches your fancy, right? We still don't know what Saiyan Day or Golden Week are going to be, but there's a good chance that it might be something worth summoning for, and knowing when and where you're going to be picking up stones will help you decide. So hopefully you guys found this guide helpful. Hopefully you guys have a good idea of how many stones are coming in, how many stones you can expect to see in not just this campaign, but in the coming months, to help you save and continue to budget your stones in the months leading up to Global Dokkan's 8-year anniversary. So if you guys liked the video, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. And in the comments down below, why don't you guys let me know, how many stones do you have right now? And do you plan on spending them anywhere anytime soon? I'll probably do a few summons for the Dokkan Festival Kid Goku, because I actually really like the Path to Power movie, and it's an exciting event for me. But otherwise, I encourage you and myself to be saving from this point forward. So, like I said, if nothing else, guys, thanks for watching, and aloha.